Hello everybody, we're here in Fort Loudon this morning for the event of Cross the Centuries in Fort Loudon. Huh? We have a lot of stuff here today. Yeah.
Good morning.
Hello.
Welcome to World War I in Germany.
Thank you.
Listener, do you have any questions?
That, sir, is lacquered felt. The one to your left is the boiled leather, hardened leather. The one black one to the right of that is actually tin.
Wow.
And then the one on the far side is regular felt, pressed felt, with removable spike. The leather was a primary material they used for the pickle halves. Excuse me. But when they started mobilizing in 1914, you had massive mobilizations of the armies. Leather was needed for belts, boots, a lot of other things. So they started making what they call ersatz, or replacement materials, which is where the felt and the tin and everything came from.
Oh, okay.
Then in 1915, as supply caught up to demand, they started making them out of leather again.
Wow.
And then, of course, in 1916, they went to the steel helmets that you see on the side over here.
That's interesting.
It is.
Do you have any questions or anything?
No? Thank you.
Firearm. We're technically 7.92. 7.92.
I like that.
Yeah, me too.
A Mauser, O3 bandolier equipment, a flat cap for closed borders, and other objects for the across the tent.
Telescope.
That's cool.
I guess I should put my jacket back.
That's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I got one. I just didn't print it. I thought those would be too.
I'm going to, as soon as this is over, isn't it? Put my base coat on. Pretty cool.
Gotta do it.
Wanna sleep in a tent?
Huh?
Wanna sleep in the tent?
Yeah. Trying to get the channels to make it easier. Jumping back on the road, but by the time Anima 44, that the period I'm portraying, their uniforms were falling apart, rotten off, and they went to the standard Army uniform, which is just wool pants and wool shirts. And of course, also consider they're up in altitude. They actually woke up one morning, the end of September, with about 6 inches of snow on
Yeah.
their foxholes. They didn't expect it, and they were dug into foxholes like those guys over there, and they had shelter halves. This is kind of a ad hoc company CP command post with supplies, etc., radio sets. little bit different, but they would be dug in like those guys over there with shelter halves over, and they said they woke up their shelter halves were like plywood over it because it got so cold in the snow the night before. So yeah. Well, actually, this unit they actually would pick up what was called it was a German Zelfon, which was a German poncho and shelter half.
This is fun. A lot of history here.
It is very interesting.
I like this too.
I don't know what this was.
Some kind of stove?
I guess it's a shower because it's got water.
Probably.
You can see the water.
Yeah.
It kind of seems like it makes sense. Look up there.
Yeah.
Okay. This is actually better than what we had planned.
Yeah.
Man.
This is nice. Kind of unstable, but whatever. I said, everything's color coded. Really? Oh yeah. What's this blue stuff? Oh, that's the pneumatic system. What's the brown stuff? That's the hydraulic system. I said, what's this yellow stuff on the side of the fighting department? They said, oh, that's the fuel tanks. Okay.
That's part of
Basically, you get
it.
into
It says
the tank and it's
Tavern
like-
Gettysburg.
Oh, wow.
Going back and forth.
Yeah.
If you want a flyer, then we're gonna have an open house. Yeah, you want? Did you get one already?
Yeah, we got
Okay.
one already.
So this is the Wheels of Liberation collection. They brought
Okay.
the Hellcat as well. Yep.
So,
And we're gonna have an open house that date, and it's gonna be those 2 dates. You get a wristband. It's $20 per person unless you have a discount, like a veteran or over a certain age or children. And then it's from 9 to 5 on Saturday and 9 to 3 on Sunday. And there's over 100 vehicles in this collection, and he is having all of them either work or are in the process of being refurbished and redone, and then they'll be able to run as well. So it's a
right.
private collection, so if you're interested, come join us for that as well.
Okay.
All right. What to go?
I'm going to crank the
Put that on our list.
Yeah. Which way you want to go?
Oh man, there's another truck too. What is that? Could be a picture of that.
So this was the kind of the end result of that, and then of course they realized that okay, tank destroyer doesn't work. Everybody just gets tank. Yes. It's open turret. Oh, so from up there, I can just yeah. Oh, okay. We went for that last. No. Yeah. These things are just as dangerous as they are to the enemy. So, might have people really good here kind of manner. So.
Oh, yeah. think a lot here.
There you go.
Obviously, it's weather dependent too. So, whenever.
Right this way.
Insert rod A into slot B.
Yep. At least on that this one you can kind of see it.
Now you're off center.
Imagine being in a situation where somebody's calling for you.
No, we're still off.
We're under attack. They need some backup.
Yeah, I can see
Hang
the
on a
top.
second. We got to crank our engine and we got to let it warm up for 15 minutes before we can move it.
Nope, that's off.
Well, this is a neat.
I think you might be a little high. So come a
It
little
was a neat
right.
diversion from actual armor to very
My
light
right.
armor.
I guess that's the way to start the engine.
You're right. You're facing the wrong way.
I know.
You move it forward till you make contact, shoot an enemy tank, and then hack out and let the heavy armor take over. So the doctrine of tank destroyers was a World War II thing only. They didn't use it in combat battles. They didn't build the tanks to do something.
Yeah, you're high. Come back out.
But it's there's no top on it, which is the interesting part. I mean, you could move very easily inside the pillar. That's it. There's no protection. That's it.
There he goes. Cranking it up.
Who's first?
This is the audience participation cover on part of
They take the whole vehicle line. That's why I say you shoot and you can get the heck out. Let somebody else do the heavy lifting.
ever see a build airplane? Yes, this way to the east. Well, the reason they do that is because they sit for more than 6 hours, or the movement is over the top. They try to start it that way. So we're going to roll this over 62 times. And we'll start off, and if you'd like to give it a try, step one up, you can give it a try.
Yeah, because we're old and we don't have the energy to do 62. Yeah, right. Instead of having a fire extinguisher here, you got one of those little portable defib guys.
See this here? Goes like that. That's one.
Yeah. How many calls do you want to take it?
How many? 6? 4 left.
That's 10. Who's next?
Want to give it a try?
Let's get the airborne in here.
Thank you, sir.
Wind up that big spring.
So that's what you're doing. You're not necessarily turning.
No, there's a main spring in there. It's good for about 2 miles.
It's just like
Stop it. Wasp engine? Wasp radio?
I'm gonna try it.
Continental?
If we put that stool up against there, she could probably try it.
yeah, we'll get her up there. We'll get her.
Wow.
What's it supposed to do? Turn it on?
Yeah.
Oh, you're in a compression rope. They made it tough for you.
That's the one that is mentioned specifically in the memo. And honestly, it's a really good,
It's a grenade.
really good part of the unit to portray because at that point we have a little bit of everything. We have sappers and engineers, we have infantry, machine guns, destroyers.
That's how you.
They are. Pick it up.
All you do. Here's your rear sight. This is your front sight. And you lift the tank. Push the button. Yep, that's all there is to it.
Now, what was the reason that, like, it would go through
This gives a shape around.
This has a shape chart. Yep. And Germans tested their stuff on their armor. Okay. Very handy up here.
Airplane door.
This is
There we go.
You did like something like that.
Yeah, C-47 Skytrain D-Day display.
This will be her last show. Two shows for the spring, and a couple shows for summer. She's got paid, she's doing an educational program for the summer. That's been a lot of fun.
Can't wait to see the Indians. It might not be Indians.
Which, to be fair, a lot of Iranians well, yeah, Afghanistan was already virtual. Well,
Yeah.
basically all of it was Iraq
Oh.
Doesn't look like one. I guess we'll have to stop for food.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's all the different.
Very interesting.
It is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, puppy.
He's friendly, he doesn't bite.
Hi. You're pretty. You smell like kitties.
Jen.
staring at the blank wall and make a sound that goes on for multiple more days. Like, yeah, dude,
well, I'd rather just get stabbed.
Well, you can take the time. You can make the time medieval, but you can't make Japan not. Like,
You can give them as many Game Boys as you want, but they're still going to be medieval.
even nuking the
third time's the charm.
Yeah. Yeah, we can.
We already get all this.
No, we didn't get that.
How we wear the dresses and stuff like it was back then.
Yeah.
Sitting in it. Yeah.
Blood bank. Hello.
Hi folks, how y'all doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
So you do a certain amount of.
He's hard at work.
What's that?
You're hard at work. You're hard at work.
I am. Conduct, like, you know, the Soviet Union, there's a predefined, here's what you did, you do X to get Y. So, like, if you see somebody,
Persons. Bowling.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow, Hannah. It's good to meet you.
Yeah.
right, or in, like, you would say,
What about down here?
Let's go back here.
Or down here?
All right.
You want to see any of that?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. I'm curious to these dugouts down here.
Yeah.
Merton's car.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This is worth it.
Oh, yeah. Put it in the dance group.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry. Walk over here. There it is. No.
Okay.
Hello.
So they would gather them up, put them on trains, and send them out to Siberia.
This motorcycle.
And on the way, some of them would be pushed off at railroads, towns, and whatever to fend for themselves. And this is the story about one of these officers' wives and his daughter. And they were pushed off in some little burg in, out in the Soviet Union. And the people of town would take pity on them and take them in. So there's one
I don't know. Go back down there.
You don't have to, I guess.
Yeah. This is his motorcycle.
Here's what I want. I want to get a picture of it.
That's pretty neat.
good.
Yes, they were.
The background part looks like a wilderness.
Yeah.
Man. This is a perfect spot for this.
Rain in winter. What's the difference about the weather? They have a successful sniper. I can't recall her name, but
Should they have anything inside?
I think they do.
It was, yes. Yes, I was asking
You got that beautiful running.
Oh, wow. The tank is now running.
What's that?
The tank is now running.
It's quiet. It hasn't quiet so quiet.
He's saying how the tank is so quiet because there's a muffler on it.
I watched the batteries dead.
Let's go into the fort.
Thanks for visiting.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Good to see you again.
Good seeing you.
Hired by, it was an army, 2 battalions, hired by the province of Pennsylvania. 1 year enlistment.
Maryland forces, 1754 to 1759. Yeah, I know.
And 2 crops. They're connected to each other.
Yeah.
Project they started to build, they have a mid-1700s ladder back chair. Rocker now.
Hey, puppies.
Rockers off.
Yeah, one of my best finds part of that was Windsor Rocker. What is this, Nicholson and Son? Very, very expensive chair from the lady in Facebook Market. I think he just wanted rid of it. Yeah.
You guys friendly? Yes, you are. The puppies.
When I first saw
That's why you spotted kitties on it, don't you?
they don't bite.
Everything we have there, the shelf,
Museum and
different things, you can make these
If you replace, you can replace the hops, which during this time you replace the hop bar. The rack
Picture this center here, crates, barrels, wagons, everything stock size. Barracks, stock. Destroys, stock. Why are we stocked up with so much stuff? War. Where's the war at? Over that now. Last stop.
Here's the guardhouse.
Oh, yeah.
Feels nice and cool in here.
That was much too quickly the best discipline. You need to linger more so we can enjoy your company. One in the back.
Yeah.
Great to see you. And you enjoy your day.
We'll come back.
I look forward to it.
We promise we'll come back.
Take care. Thank you.
There's so much to see here. And there's more to see.
There is. So the visit was too fast.
Yeah.
We already
Yeah, some of the stuff we saw inside the building.
we already got.
And we already had video, so did they come in the fall, I think it was, and did a video. Yeah, they always have different things through the year. So we have to come back and have the next event. Dedicated to James Smith Rangers.
Comes a horse.
A horse. I guess we can start at this end.
What we got here? There's a guy dressed in armor. See him straight ahead.
Oh yeah.
Then the Tin Man's over here. On the
Yeah.
left.
Oh wow. Ooh. This is the back of the fort.
What's that? Yeah. This kind of wild.
Yeah. See what they got down here.
This is pretty neat.
It is. Oh, look at the flowers. Zoom down to the flowers. There we go. Had to get used to using this camera.
Yeah.
This is the second time using our new camera, the Ordro M5. I would recommend it. Does good so far. Look at the boat on the blanket.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's a wood core. This one is turned.
Happy
That one weighs 20-some pounds. It's too heavy. After I got done, more research came out and figured out how to make them better, lighter.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. It's a nice, colorful piece, pull people in. And, thank you. Sure. Questions? Got answers. This is the Agora or Agora, a marketplace for hoplites. They would carry 3 days rations, and then after the third day, the locals would come out selling grains, olives, cheese, whatever produce that so they could replenish their rations.
It's interesting.
They didn't fight until the Peloponnesian Wars. They only fought in the summer for like a week. Hey, you stole my cows. I'm coming over the hill. I'm taking them back. Meet you Tuesday, 3 o'clock. Be there. You know, they sent the heralds out, and it was like, okay, then everybody formed up, had to fight over cows, you know, and it was all the city-states were small. You know, they were just, Greece is really small, and then you realize that Athens was pissed off with Megara, which is like down the coast, 15 miles. Oh, come on, guys. You know, who was pissed off at the Spartans, which is over that little skinny piece and down the road. I mean, it's really, really close. I'm thinking, like, okay, Texas is mad at New York. It's like Dallas is mad at Fort Worth. You know, it's how tight things were.
Wow. It's interesting.
And that's copper and tin, and if you melt that ratio by weight, you get tin bronze.
Nice.
This one is made by Jeffrey Hildebrandt in Canada, and this one's made by Jeffrey Hildebrandt in Canada from Broken Cymbals, because that was how he sourced his tin bronze. All the modern bronze has too many other alloys in. And then he finally found the guys who sold the tin bronze in Turkey to Zildjian.
Yep.
Well, he sourced their factory, and he was able to get cheap so you didn't have to go look for broken cymbals.
Fascinating.
Decoration. So one thing that we kind of forget about in the ancient world is that like this would be like brass or bronze, this, we think of brass or bronze like just a useless metal, right? Like I don't have any use for it in my daily life. This would be a valuable, this would be considered a precious metal. So what happens here is I'm wearing all of my wealth, my jewelry, all that stuff on me. It, A, advertises how great I am, but B, it keeps my earthly wealth around me. Because Tertius over here is a slacker, and he's always the last one in line, and it's because he's rifling through my backpack after I leave the tent. So I want to keep all of my money around me. So it's a way to show off, it's a way to look cool, it's a way to announce yourself. That's right, ladies, I am in the Army. Thank you very much. You're welcome for my service, right? But it's also a way to have your wallet in a less stealable fashion. When Vitellius made his bid for emperor in 69 AD, a lot of his soldiers actually gave him
Let's see it. I missed it.
Those things for what's going on.
There they are. Wow. Two big jets went flying over.
Because he needed a lot of money.
Interesting.
His soldiers actually donated their
I don't know if I got them on video, but they went flying over.
You didn't get it?
I don't know.
To fund the campaign. So it's decoration. It's not really armor. We used to think that it was like a kind of like a cup kind of armor, like a sports cup. But it's not. It's just a place to look fancy.
When someone says that, I'm like, okay, put the
Go this way. Go over this way.
James and I are very enthusiastic about talking about it. But I do want to make
You guys hold on. There's those guys in the horse.
Yeah.
C-130 goes by, and I'm looking down at it. It's banging down the river. Bring it back over to the hay, that's the hay. Just below me.
The horses.
Yeah.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Probably know you guys and had the opportunity to say thanks to all you guys because what did you do? All of you really didn't want anything. Yeah. Things are a little shaky now. So.
Bow and arrow.
sort of thing. So they would ship it all over. Whenever you're done a campaign, sell your arms on a new set or something like that. People change their sizes. Now people go larger, sometimes they go skinnier, more than 12 in the last.
Walk over here.
Let's see your armor again.
Wonderful. I appreciate you getting a hold of me. I will see about getting a hold of you shortly.
Like a legend in this area. Bob Sherrod. So. The best thing they could do is die.
Did you see the one over by the city?
Yes. I do not. Many truck shows. I'm good.
Oh, no. Don't touch. Don't come over here.
Is this cured, or is this something that's getting cooked?
Nope, that is set.
Okay. I want to make sure before I...
Must be the javelins they use.
What's that?
The javelins.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. You guys have any questions on anything? Tools of the trade, right?
That's pretty neat.
You can't just walk. I grew up in Florida, so you got to ask me something. You got to see something here. So, predominantly these would be common soldiers' weapons, right? Like soldiers like me, right? I don't have heavy armor. I'm probably light armor. Maybe I have some mail, maybe a helmet, but I don't have. I'm not armored like our men-at-arms, right? So, like this weapon here, this is so English, right? It's a predominantly English weapon. It's called a bill. Our modern terms of bill hook, because it has a hook, but it's a bill, and it's still used today. So if you take away this spike, right, you have this curved tool here. They use that to trim tree limbs and hedges, and they still use it today. You can buy them in the hardware stores, and that's how it started out, as a bill. And then, back in the levy days, our great-grandfathers down there in the later, the 13s and 1200s, they had levies, right? So if you're a farmer and you lived on the land, you worked the land, in times of war or combat, you were called for levy duty, and you had to bring your own equipment. So, of course, you're going to bring whatever you had that was sharp and made of iron. So they brought their tool. And what this tool did is eventually they took it and they realized, hey, this actually works. And so they started adding things as they put on a spike on this one. As the later period, they would put a back spike here, and you would see these in operation all the way up to 1600s when they established Jamestown. They brought a whole bunch of them because they're just effective and easy to learn. But Englishmen were just known for their using bills. It's a very, very English weapon. Yep, bill hook, or English bill or whatever. But they would have just called it a bill because that's the weapon or the tool. And then you have other things, fancier things like this is kind of like a knife glaive, and all it is just a big sharp knife, right, on a stick. Okay. That's all it is. And then you see these get longer and longer and more advanced and ornate. But this is just something, again, basic. This is something a local blacksmith can work up. So it's not expensive to make. And if it's all I can take to the fight, this is what I'll take. And this is going to help me. I can fight against a person on horse, or I can slash it down. And of course, I'm working in support with our men at arms, right? So I'm not frontline soldier. He's the front line. That's his responsibility, right? He has to fight up front and fight the other men at arms. We're the guys at the back. So as you would see us hold the line with like all this. What you would see is he's fighting up front, supporting my men at arms, right? So I'm distracting his opponent. So he can if I distract the guy he's fighting, and I can make him move, now he takes the advantage and he can move in and fight.
Oh wow!
And that's the whole purpose of these guys. I want to be behind him.
I'm his walking shield.
That's right. So he thinks I'll work for him, but he's actually working for but that's their role. That was responsibility, right? You were a noble, and you were the ones that were supposed to be up there fighting. But in history records, they don't record soldiers because we're not noble. He owns land. He's gifted. He has title, status. We don't have status. So if I die, they don't care. They don't care at all. But they'll record him if he dies. They'll say Sir so and so or whatever status he is died at this battle, and then forever shrine in history. But the guys behind him, the countless dead.
They don't even mention them in the death toll.
Nope.
Wow.
Because we're nobodies. So, but behind every knight, there were soldiers that were in support role to help these guys. Because him by himself, and some knights they believe are men at arms, right? Some believe they were they have a tag team. So this guy and me, we're a fighting duo. So if he's up front and he's fighting and he's getting tired, because I'm watching his back, right? I'm making sure he's on his feet. And then if he's getting tired, because they would just rotate out, and he'd rotate back, and I'd take over the fighting. and allow him to have a chance to breathe and stuff. I mean, there's even accounts where they would leave the line, go to the back, take their helmets off, get some water, get back in, get his helmet, and then go right back into the fight again. So it wasn't like one of these, it lasted a little bit, and they would break, realign, and crash back into each other. But the knight was the frontline soldier, but he was supported by his retinue and his non-common, non-noble soldiers. So.
Wow.
But all kinds of stuff. If you have any questions, ask Aiden. He can answer anything on the armor.
Like these right here.
So they're called Bezigus, and what they're doing is they're covering the gap that's placed between the armor.
Okay.
And because they're kind of floating there, it allows it to just move out of the way and not hinder my movement.
Oh, okay.
So if you didn't have those there, I'd stab right into his thing.
Okay,
now,
I see.
if he raises his arm, they protect. And if I did make it in, they protect that armpit. It reduces my target area, right? So it protects him a little bit more to deflect.
Huh.
All right.
Fascinating.
Great, thanks.
It definitely worked. For $20, I'll let you hit him. No, I'm kidding. Don't kill him, but just you can hit him.
Is he your son or something?
No.
I figured the way you was teasing him.
That's my son right there.
Oh, okay.
Is that hard to get on and off your suit?
I can't get it on myself. I need assistance.
Okay.
It take, if I was in a rush, I could get this on in maybe 15 minutes. But this morning I was casual. Spent 30 minutes putting it on.
He can get himself to his hips.
Okay.
So he can do his legs
on.
I mean, obviously you want it, right? He's a status. So he would always have someone, a valet, right? You have a valet. We get wrapped around the title of squire. Squire at this period of our time frame, it's now transforming into a new status, right? A new position, a role, and you start to hear the term esquire, right? But we would call it a valet. So someone who's going to put his armor on, or armor and stuff like that. That's his staff. Now his valet can look like me, right? And I can actually have equipment myself. And it's not like this, not at all like this, but he would harness me as well. So I have mail and maybe a plate and a helmet to go. But my role would be to attend them in a campaign and arm them and all that stuff. But yeah, definitely from the waist up, it's another operation.
Wow.
So
yeah, I mean you can look at the back. It requires all that buckling.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Is it hot?
Not today with the shade. It feels pretty good.
Okay.
When the sun's out, the humidity, ooh man, I am cooking.
So you get a lot, right? Like you got to remember about the mid 1400s or the mid 14th century to about the late, probably the beginning of the 1500s. The Earth was cooling. There was a slight coolage of the Earth. So like it was they call it a mini ice age. So that caused a lot of famine and stuff in Europe because of the crops were failing and all that. But so you got to remember like. We wore all this wool as the temperature. It was
all year round, wool, all year round.
Yeah. And, but when it got warm in the summer, right? They would have Europe. It gets 80 degrees and they're about to die, right? They're not used to the heat like we are down here, and especially in Florida and stuff. But wool was the predominant clothing, right? And it's moist wickening at the same time, so it actually helps with the sweat and keeps you cool, but it keeps you warm in the winter. And then you always see them, if it got too hot, they just take off their pants, roll them down. If they had split, they would roll them while working their underwear and their t-shirt and stuff.
Linens.
Yeah, on the hot days in the fields. Now, not our men at arms. You got fancy silk clothes that keep them cool and all that stuff. But yeah, so the clothing was for a reason. They didn't just wear it. Two reasons was the weather, but the second was economy, right?
Yeah.
In England, wool was the moneymaker. That was the major export. It all went to Flanders, right, to the Netherlands. And so all the wool that they shipped, that was the main trade. It goes to Flanders. Flanders puts it on the loom. They make the materials, and then they export that across the Western Europe, right?
Huh.
So they made a law. There was sumptuary law, yep, that you had to wear wool. Because what it did was just help the economy, right? So you had linens. People wore linens and stuff, but that was mostly for kids, workers, stuff like that. That the wool was predominant. Yeah. So everything's for a reason, right? It wasn't just because everything was. Plus, they were told to, threat of being in prison. You better buy that wool. But
you shouldn't be wearing silk.
Yeah. But they would export, and their gowns would be silk, finer, smoother, cotton. Though it was not popular, it was around. It's very rare. shipped all the way from the, up the Orient, and that was like a fine thing of status. But silk was another one. They're bringing it from China.
Italy started producing silk, just not as fine.
Wow.
So totally different class status. Like when we take this stuff off tonight, we'll get in our, we'll call civil clothes. Like these are our martial clothes, right? We'll get in our civil clothes, and I'll still be in wool, and then he'll get into a nice, like, gown, flowing gown and stuff like that. Totally different statuses, right? So it's all about the status. It's all about what you had and who you were. So
wow.
Interesting.
It's good to have money.
Good to have land, right?
Yeah.
Because that's another point. I mean, you see my armor's incredibly decorated.
Yeah.
It's got brass trimming, unlike him, and it's a second layer of armor because people are going to take me ransom. Because at our time, it was very common to take other knights ransom, because this says I have money. You can capture me if you don't kill me. You can ransom me and make a profit. So ransoming was a huge goal for knights. Yep, if they
Well, that's
could
how you
help
made.
it.
That was the whole thing about going on campaign, right? The chance to get rich by sacking yourself someone wealthy on the other side. So that you don't want to kill the 1%. They don't want to kill each other. That was kind of against chivalry, right? The chivalric code. You're offered the chance of ransom. But the chance of if he can enhance his status and make money by going on campaign and collecting ransoms for other knights and nobles. Now, people like me, we can't take ransom. If we do manage to take one of them down and hold him to the ground and get our knight or our nobleman to come accept the ransom, because they can't surrender us. And if we surrender, we just get killed. They would just kill a commoner soldier. There's no taking prisoners, because prisoners, you got to feed them, so they wouldn't do it.
I would have had him sign an indenture when he enlisted saying that any prisoner he takes of a certain value had to go to me, and had then, if depending on his status, I went to the king. So he wasn't even really allowed to keep anyone notable. And he wouldn't be able to afford it, because if you ransom someone, you have to feed them, house them. It becomes expensive.
So the better he does on the battlefield, the better our cut is at the end.
Hopefully.
But our money came from looting, right? After the fight, collecting all the various pieces of armor we can take and sell, and looting the baggage. That's where we got our money from. But for him, as a young noble, right, to enhance his status, going on a campaign in France, and like Agincourt, that's a chance to triple his wealth, right? To come back with a load. Sadly, not many came back with wealth, but it pretty much broke even. As Henry killed a lot of the prisoners, different theories, but it happened. He executed a lot of French prisoners, so they didn't ransom as many because of that action, but out of desperation. But the dukes and all them made off, but the lower nobles, they kind of broke even, and it was kind of like, okay, we're living off the glory of Agincourt, right? But they spent more money and kind of broke even. But yeah, that's like as high edge a technology we get for our time period right here.
It's cool.
Wow.
And it's not the clunking armor that you see in the movies and all that stuff.
Yeah.
No, he can run around. He can move, get up, get down. He can get on his horse without a crane like you see in the movies and stuff like that. Yep. Because if it restricted him, it's not armor. It's not protective, right? It's hindering him, right? If it hinders your movement, it hinders you, and it's not protecting you anymore. Now it's actually making it dangerous for you to fight. So it has to be fitted and all that good stuff. And he has to be in top shape to wear it for long periods of time. And all that stuff. So the minute it stops working properly, it's not armor. Now it's a hindrance.
All right.
Yeah, come back, see us. Get any
All
questions.
Brother, you look like
You have a good day.
Thank you.
Your blood for obviously.
Henry the Fifth.
Yeah, I thought I recognized the armor.
That's neat.
The girl inside was going to see church, but I'm not sure. I'm standing there.
Oh.
There. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, that's pretty interesting.
It is.
I was wondering about those around. I didn't give them a thought.
They can actually
Go for the shoulder pad.
crazy
For the shoulders.
tricks that they were up in, and that's how they would initially ignite them.
I mean, when they were fighting, they had to watch everything.
Yeah.
Every part of their body and, geez. Huh.
Here, put the ramrod down. I'm going to put my pinky on top like so. Once everybody in the line is in this position, then we are ready to fire. And that's when I'm going to give the next command, which is called prime.
My leg's getting tired.
I'm going to point this in a safe direction. I'm going to put my feet into a T formation like this. I'm going to bring the musket up and go to what's called half cock. I'm going to go to what's called half cock. Bring it to here. See my old cap? I'm going to pull my old cap off. I'm going to go into my cap box.
Hold the camera.
I'm going to put the cap over the nipple. So, I'm going to lift it up, bring it to full cock, and fire. I'm going to bring it back down to here, and then back down to here, and I'm going to repeat the whole process to reload. A well-trained infantry like myself and the rest of my unit would be able to do that in about 15 to 20 seconds, and we would be able to get off about 3 to 4 rounds a minute if we were lucky. And it was very important for everybody to be trained in that drill to be able to fire in unison so we could get the kind of volley that we're looking for. We don't want people getting out of step, firing individually, and limiting our range accordingly. So that is one of my important positions as the command sergeant, to not only train everybody in that drill and regularly train everybody in that drill, but to make sure that we all do it in unison when we're in combat.
Your legs are all in me. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I think I heard guys talking about
Oh, you want these are the
The flag. Oh, wow.
Do you have any questions here?
No.
You want to ride?
Yeah.
All right, good.
There you go.
The mountain view.
Oh, yeah. It looks nice, huh? I thought about getting that, like holding that flag grouping and video and that, but it's kind of boring.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to do that or not. Okay.
No.
They all knew each other. You know, they operated. Yeah. When he first started out New York, he was on a half track, and they had a crew. Oh, okay. That's how it started.
All cadets control the seat, or no cadets control are have their seat control?
Archaeology of Fort Lauderdale, 1977 and 1983.
Lincoln Highway and Heritage. It'd be nice to ride that.
That's what I was going to say.
What was the other route you wanted to ride?
30.
30.
Well, that is 30.
Was it 30?
Yeah.
Okay. To do something. We'll do the west part first.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the last rifle I got now is a Martini Enfield, which was converted. There's a Martini Henry lever action tractor rifle that was converted into an Enfield because it fires 303. And I got that for $500.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here at Across the Centuries event here in Fort Lauderdale. I hope you enjoyed it, and please hit that like button and also subscribe to our channel. We greatly appreciate it, and we will catch you in the next one. Bye.